guys, it's Veronica and I'm back with a fun video. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite Halloween movies and TV shows. So I know this really doesn't have anything to do with what I usually post on my channel, but I thought this would just be a fun video to do. You know, Halloween is coming up soon and I love watching Halloween movies and TV shows, and I thought it'd be really fun to share them with you and let you get to know me a little bit better in this way. So that's what we're doing today. I have a list of my top 10 movies, and then after that I'll go into some of my favorite TV shows, TV episodes, and Halloween specials. So there will be two parts. In regards to the movies, obviously there are so many great movies to watch during Halloween time. Obviously thrillers, horror movies, slasher films, all of that kind of stuff. And any generic fantasy movies as well. But for me during Halloween time, even though I love all those kinds of movies, I tend to prefer family-friendly films, and I also like movies that take place on Halloween. So it really kind of narrows it down. That won't be the case for all of the movies on my list, but there is a kind of trend towards movies that take place on Halloween. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into my top 10 favorite movies to watch for Halloween. Okay, so I have my book of notes, and if I'm looking down, it's just to check my list. And I tried my best to put these in a top 10 order, but it was really hard, and so I don't think that the ranking is set in stone, but I'm just gonna go in the order that I wrote them. So number 10 on the list is Fun Size, and this movie does take place on Halloween, and it's about a teenage girl, and she has to kind of chaperone her little brother while he's trick-or-treating on Halloween night, but she wants to go to a party with her friends, and they end up getting separated, and there's all these hijinks for both of them. So I really like that it's not a spooky film. It's just kids, wearing costumes, trick-or-treating on Halloween, just trying to have fun. So I think it's a really fun movie. There are some inappropriate things, I think, the little brother ends up getting into an adult club, and nothing bad happens, but I just think that's a little strange for a child. But overall, I think it's a fun movie for Halloween. Number 9 is something that's going to give me backlash, I'm sure. But number 9 is Twilight, and what can I say? I'm a little embarrassed to admit, but yes, I do like Twilight. I'm aware it's bad. I'm aware the relationship is bad, but I still think it's really fun because the atmosphere of the movie is so on point. It's all gloomy and spooky, and the soundtrack is great. And personally, I just really love vampires in general, so Twilight works for me. I think it's an enjoyable movie, and I also think it's a funny movie, so it's got levels. It's enjoyable on many levels for me. Number 8 on my list is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I think probably any Harry Potter movie would be fun to watch around Halloween time because it's witches and wizards and magic and stuff. But the first movie has a Halloween night scene and event. They have the feast in the Great Hall, and then they have the troll breaking into the dungeon, and so it's nice that there's a Halloween element in the movie. I have probably watched that movie way too many times for it to be actually fun for me to watch, but I like to put it on as background noise when I'm cleaning or cooking, and it just sets the vibe in general. Number 7 is a movie that I don't hear people talking about a lot, and that is The Brothers Grimm, randomly starring Matt Damon and Heath Ledger. and it's about the Brothers Grimm, and they are like monster hunters. They're basically scammers, and they trick villagers into thinking that they have a monster problem, and then they come in and save them from the monsters. But eventually they come across a town where they have a real monster problem. So they end up using their like knowledge of old fairy tales and stuff to try and figure out what's going on there. And like I said, I prefer kind of more family-friendly movies during Halloween rather than scary movies. I like magical stuff versus like demonic stuff for Halloween. So for me, fairy tales and magic, that fits my preference for a Halloween movie. So I think this is a fun one for Halloween. I actually haven't seen it in a really long time, so my memory might be tricking me into thinking it's a good movie, and it might not be. But as you can already tell from my love for Twilight, I'm not snobby when it comes to movies. I like a lot of bad movies, so The Brothers Grimm might be one of those bad movies, but I do like it. Number 6 is arguably another bad movie, and it's Sleepy Hollow by Tim Burton, starring Johnny Depp, of course. If you don't know anything about the legend of Sleepy Hollow, it's basically just an old American folktale about Halloween, and there's this headless horseman searching for a head to steal to replace a head that he lost. So again, this one doesn't take place on Halloween, but it's a classic American Halloween story, so I think it's perfect for Halloween time. Number 5 on my list is the only scary slasher movie on this list, and that's Scream. I love Scream. I love to watch it during Halloween. It's really the only scary movie that I can watch by myself and not like have nightmares from it. I really love watching scary movies, but I just cannot watch them by myself. But Scream I can handle because I've seen it a million times. It's not super scary, and that's because it really pokes fun and satirizes the whole like scary movie and slasher movie genre. So that's why I think it's easier for me to watch. But yeah, it's just like it's a classic teen slasher, and it's so much fun. I have to watch it every year. Number 4 is really a 180 from the previous movie, and that is Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, starring Brandy and Whitney Houston. And I absolutely love that movie so much. You would not think that this is a Halloween movie per se, and I talked about this in my previous digital bullet journal video, but I think Cinderella, especially the 1997 one, is so perfect for Halloween time because it's full of like whimsy and color and magic, and there's a fairy godmother, there's a midnight ball, there's a giant pumpkin, there's animals turning into people and then back to animals again, and a magic spell. Like, it's so magical. There's not a better word. It's just so magical. I love to watch it during Halloween time because, like I said, I like the family-friendly vibes, and that movie just gets me in such a happy, delightful mood. Sorry if the angle has changed. I had to get up and answer the phone. But moving on. Number 3 is The Haunted Mansion, starring Eddie Murphy. And I think this movie is the perfect balance between funny and scary, and it's still family friendly. And I actually grew up in Southern California and love riding the Haunted Mansion ride in Disneyland. So of course this movie is inspired by that ride. And actually, oh my gosh, I just had a memory. I actually saw the movie premiere at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, and that was really fun. Oh my gosh. But yeah, this is a great movie. It's super funny. It's a little bit scary, and it has a lot of great details and homage to the ride from Disneyland. I actually watched the Muppets Haunted Mansion on Disney Plus recently, and it was cute, but I feel like the references were so deep that only like diehard Disney park fans would like get all of the jokes. So while that was like good for me, like if somebody has not been to Disneyland, like my husband, for example, they probably would not totally get the Muppets version. But the live action one with Eddie Murphy, I think is great for anybody, even if you haven't been to Disneyland before. So yes, highly recommend The Haunted Mansion. Okay, number 2 on my list is totally a cheat, I admit it, but I put an entire movie series here because I just couldn't leave any one of them out. And that is the Disney Channel original movie series Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge, and Halloween Town High, I think is what it's called, the third one. And I do not acknowledge the fourth one. It's not canon. I just like pretend it doesn't exist. I don't watch it. I have seen it and I just did not like it. I didn't think it was very good. But the first 3 I love. The first one is a classic. The second one I actually really like because there's like the Halloween party going on in the human world at the same time that all of this stuff is going on in the Halloween Town world. So that is perfect for me because like I said, I like things that take place on Halloween night. And then the third one doesn't take place only on Halloween, but it's part of the series. And I actually have a really like nostalgic soft spot for the third one, even though I know it's like probably people's least favorite one. I really love that one. And number 1 on my list will not be a surprise to anybody at all. Like, no one on the face of planet Earth will be shocked to hear me say. Number 1 is Hocus Pocus. What is there even to say about this movie? It's a classic. It is a family-friendly, magical film that takes place on Halloween. There's witches. There's so many classic lines from this movie, and I cannot let Halloween pass me by without watching this movie. If for some reason you haven't seen this yet, just trust me when I say the hype is not undeserved. Like, this is a very good Halloween movie, and I think you'll really like it. So yeah, these are my top 10 movies. And now let's move on to some of my favorite TV shows, TV episodes, and TV Halloween specials. So like I said, rather than watching random scary movies or fantasy movies during Halloween, I tend to prefer anything that takes place on Halloween night. So that's why I really love to watch TV shows and TV episodes, because when they have like a Halloween episode, it's happening on Halloween, and so it's just perfect. And for this TV section, I didn't put them in a particular order. I'm just going to go through the list as I have it written down, and this is not ranked in any way. So the first 2 Halloween episodes that I want to mention are from Disney Channel shows. The first one is from That's So Raven, and that's the episode where Raven and Chelsea are supposed to go to Alana's big Halloween costume party, and they accidentally get themselves turned into cows. And it sounds very random, but it's really funny, and it's probably one of the best Halloween episodes that Disney Channel has ever made. And the other Disney Channel show episode that I really like is from Phil of the Future, where like Debbie is a cupcake making cyborg. I actually haven't watched that one in a really long time, but I have memories of really loving that one. I thought about putting the Lizzie McGuire Halloween episode on this list as well, but I actually watched it recently and it's kind of mean. Like, all the stuff that they do to trick Kate into thinking the Day of the Dead skulls are like coming back to get her. It's borderline bullying. Actually, it's crossed the line. It is bullying, and I feel like I probably thought it was really funny and entertaining as a kid, but as an adult, I'm like, wow, that was mean. Next on my list is the Halloween episode from Friends. I love Friends. I feel like Friends has an episode for every like life event and life situation and holiday and stuff. So of course I like to watch their Halloween episode. I'm actually kind of disappointed that they only ever had one, which was in season 9. but they tended to focus more on Thanksgiving and Christmas. But thankfully there is one episode, so I do like to watch that during October. Also, there's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They have a running like Halloween heist gag that they do every season. So they have a lot of Halloween episodes, and those ones are really fun and really entertaining. So I definitely like to check out the Brooklyn Nine-Nine episodes every year. Another show with really great Halloween episodes is Good Witch, which is a Hallmark Channel TV show. I never thought I would be the kind of person that enjoys watching Hallmark Channel content, but Good Witch is so wholesome. The magic that happens on that show is very subtle. It's more like intuition, herbs and spices and teas, and like good advice kind of thing. It's not like doing spells of potions and stuff. Very rarely. But if you don't know anything about this show, it's about a woman named Cassie Nightingale, and she lives in this small town with her family. She runs this inn that used to be owned by her ancestors, so it's kind of like this kind of spooky but still very like magical and cozy place. And she also runs a shop where she is always helping out people in the town with whatever their problems are. She'll like, oh, why don't you try this tea? Or like, why don't you take this random object? It might be useful to you. And it ends up being exactly what they need, and that kind of thing. And they also have a lot of really great Halloween specials. Usually they're like 2-part Halloween specials. So it's like an hour and a half long, which is really nice. So I really love that show. Even when it's not Halloween time, I just think it's a really comforting and cozy show. And it's just a great bonus that they have these awesome Halloween episodes. Next on my list is a TV show that got canceled. They only did one short season, and I'm crushed. I'm devastated. I will never get over it, even though this happened years ago. And that show is The Secret Circle. It used to be on the CW, and it was like a teen drama about a girl who moves to this town in the Pacific Northwest, and she finds out that she's descended from a line of witches, and there's like a coven of witches in her high school, and she's trying to like learn the ropes. And the magic on that show is very dark. It's a very creepy show. The music is really good, like the soundtrack, and it's very atmospheric because it's the Pacific Northwest, of course. And I just cannot believe it got canceled. Like, how could such an amazing concept fail? I don't understand. I will never understand. But thankfully the episodes are online on the CW website, so I can at least watch it again during Halloween time. And bonus, they actually have a Halloween episode in that first season. So thank you, whoever made that show, for having the foresight to put in a Halloween episode. Thank you. And the last thing that I want to mention are the Spooky Stories 1 and Spooky Stories 2 short animated film collections by DreamWorks. And within those collections, there are some short animated films featuring the characters of Shrek, and there are a couple shorts featuring monsters versus aliens. And the Shrek ones are funny. They have a lot of references to like popular horror films like The Exorcist and stuff, which I haven't seen because that's too scary for me. But the Shrek version is funny. And of course it's a lot of like adult humor, which is kind of the Shrek brand. But those are really fun. But my favorite short films from the Spooky Stories collection are the monsters versus aliens ones, where like an alien spaceship comes down and like drops off some like toxic waste on a pumpkin patch, and then the pumpkins get like possessed and they turn into like evil creatures. And it is so good. The visuals of the Halloween, like all the colors like the costumes. I think the jokes are funny and it's just so good. It's so good. I love that one. And then there's a sequel to it about carrots. And I know it sounds so silly, but I really do love those movies. I just think they are so Halloweeny and I want more people to watch them and enjoy them. So look out for spooky stories on Netflix. I think that's where most people can find it. I don't even like the Monsters vs. Aliens movies. I love those Halloween specials. They're so good. So good. So that's it for this Halloween movie and TV show recommendation video. If I did not mention your favorite movie or TV show, feel free to leave a recommendation down in the comments and I will be sure to check it out. Like I said, especially for the movies, this is just my personal top 10 and I know that there are so many other great movies that I usually do try to watch during Halloween anyways, even if they're not in my top 10. And there's also a lot of movies and TV show episodes that I haven't even watched yet, so it's not me disliking them, I just haven't watched it yet. But yeah, leave your recommendations down below. I'd love to check them out. Don't forget to like and subscribe and also hit the bell. I'm planning on doing one more Halloween video before the big day comes, so make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss it. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're getting into that Halloween spirit and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!